Last month, I heard about this guy who like some crazy returns in his trading, and his secret is basically mushrooms. So like, I don't know how sustainable that is, but trading on mushrooms.
Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this. Hey, Walter, how do you tell the difference between your knowledge or your skills at work and your ego telling you what to do?
That's pretty good, isn't it? For me, that would be execution. So like, ego's tricky, isn't it? Because I think as traders, that becomes one of the biggest challenges the better you get. And if you've ever seen this among other traders, like who've been around for a long time, you will see the ego creep up. And I think it's interesting because I think as we develop as traders, a lot of things kind of, get easier, I guess, so to speak, in some ways, with experience. Yeah. That's the one thing I think that's not. The way that you phrased it was, how do you know if it's ego or what was the other thing?
Yeah, when you're making a trading decision, how do you know if that decision is coming from a place of knowledge and skill or of your ego trying to take over and run the show?
Yeah. So for me, it always comes back to execution. So I need to answer this question. In this part of the trade, whatever part it is, it could be the risk management, the pyramiding, the entry, the exit, whatever. In this part of the trade, did I do what I am meant to do? Right? And if I didn't, and you even see this in traders like George Soros was famous for it in his interview in the Market Wizards or New Market Wizards or whichever book he was in. A lot of traders, like if you go to the traders who speak and stuff, those things, you'll see it. You'll definitely see it where these guys get up there and they say things. And it's funny because then they get sucked in this trap where it's like, you must do this. Like this is the only way you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
make
totally.
money in the markets. And I understand why they say that because that's their experience. And like, they're like, well, man, I mean, look what I've done,
Yeah.
I get that, but that's tricky. I think that's a big trap. The longer you trade, obviously a lot of people are going to fall by the wayside because they quit, but the longer you trade, which means obviously you're making money, the more ego can seep in and convince you that you should break your rules in this instance, or you should do something different in this instance, or that you are responsible for your results and not your system.
Hey there, I hope you're finding this episode useful. I just wanted to let you know that Walter and I give away something valuable every month that helps traders improve their skills. You can enter to win by simply leaving an iTunes review and leaving a comment on our YouTube videos. At the end of each month, we'll look at the comments and reviews from the month, and we'll pick a winner at random. Each comment and each review counts for one entry during the month that it's submitted. So if you're interested in that, be sure to enter after this podcast is over. All right, back to the episode.
Really, because it's kind of like you're a bus driver. You're just driving the bus. Like you can drive a VW bus or you can drive a Mercedes bus. Don't matter. Like you got to drive the bus and not wreck it,
Yeah.
So that to me, boy, man, like if you can't, that is a really good question because trying to disengage those two things is, it's a common one, I think. I really do. And I think if you go, like you guys can go out and look on the internet and see, like, do you hear any traders saying, like really kind of beating their chest and saying, this is the only way you should do that. You should always do this. You should always do that.
Pretty common.
A lot of times, they're not saying that because, they're trying to lead you astray, but they're saying that because they're coming from their experience, So, I mean, I can't speak to their motivations, but I shouldn't say that. But I think in a lot of cases, they're actually well-intentioned. It's just sort of like, that's all they know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's all they can prove also. Like in terms of a track record, that's what they can prove, right? So that's what they're going to talk about. So it makes sense from that standpoint.
Yeah, and that's why I think, just reading those Market Wizards books is so good. Like that was the real eye-opener to me. The big lesson from those Market Wizards books by Jack Schwager was that like there's so many different ways. Like you come across all of these interviews and you just realize, man, like this guy did that and that guy did the opposite and they both made money. Like what like, you know what I mean? Like it's really kind of it'll snap you out of the idea of finding the holy grail or the perfect strategy because you're like, dude, all these guys did totally different things. You know what I mean? And look what happened. Like it's crazy. So I really like how that, that can help you see trading for what it is, which is really it's a personal journey to match up what you should be aligned with, like what makes sense to you. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. And funny story, last month I heard about this guy who like some crazy returns in his trading, and his secret is basically mushrooms. So like, I don't know how sustainable that is, but trading on mushrooms.
So he takes the psychedelics and then he uses those to kind of see the future or something, or like how does he?
I think he feels the market flow better or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to do to your brain long term, right? But like, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, that is crazy. It makes me wonder if you can't just achieve that same thing through a different means, through like a non-chemical means or something.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is an interesting thought though. All right, cool. Thanks, Walter.
Thanks.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.